Today's episode is brought to you by PTZ Optics. Disability Upgrade. New Wave Toys and their Replicate Amusements products. And
Boom shakalaka! Hey everybody, it's Tim Kitzer here, the voice of some of your favorite video games like NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. And I'm here to talk to you about Old School Gamer Magazine. It's the magazine for retro gaming, and it's exploding. Kaboom! Print issues come out every other month, and if you want to go green, digital options are available. Visit oldschoolgamer.com and subscribe now. That's oldschoolgamer.com. Boom shakalaka! Kaboom!
And we are here. The question is, are we good with our audio? Are we going to go two weeks, Stephen?
Well, let's hope. Can you guys hear us?
Testing. I am here, Glenn.
REXER's here. I'm here. I think we may be good. I think we have 2 weeks in a row. This is like a big thing for us.
Well, there's
Rex.
a bit of a delay, right? So these guys, it takes about 10 seconds for them to.
Yeah, for them to comment.
Yeah,
Make
and
sure
then it's good.
Say it sucks.
They say it's good, Glenn, or what?
Audio great.
Audio great. That's 2 weeks in a row.
You're getting better,
Wow.
Glenn. You're totally getting better.
Glenn,
Awesome.
There's no for you yet, man.
Glenn, can I start with something really quick?
Of course, Rex. You're the guest, man. Be my guest.
I told you I wasn't coming on the show until you watched Andor by Star Wars, and I didn't get my answer yet. If you watched the series Andor,
I did.
Oh, you have audio problems, Rex. What's that?
I told you to watch it, and you still
I haven't
didn't.
had a chance. I will get on it though. I will. It's been busy. I've been trying to get you on the show, but yes, I did promise to watch that. But in all fairness, Pliskin's Run wanted me to watch Warcraft. Took like 2 years, and I finally got into it. And then disappointed to find out it's ending on a cliffhanger. I'll never know what happens. Is that going to happen with Endor now? I don't know.
Books.
I'm not spoiling it, but Steven, you can vouch for me, right? That it's a good show.
You know what? It's a good show. I just thought it was a slow burn. It's not your action-packed Star Wars. It's a very slow, drama. It's good. It's just not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this negatively. It's just a slow burn, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't expect like stuff to happen every episode. Sometimes it goes a whole episode. You're like, well, I got to watch the next one now. Click.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
liked it
that's-
though because it wasn't, action packed with, Jedi fighting and all, and clones
does
and
get
all that
old.
stuff. So
Yeah, I hear you.
It's like watching a spy movie a little bit. It's like watching sort of the cloak and dagger spy type stuff, and it's very subtle in its delivery. So
Oh,
and
JT agrees. Endor was fantastic. He's putting it
Yeah.
out there.
like for me, I liked it, but is it my Star Wars cup of tea and go-to show? No. But did I hate it? No.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not for everybody, but I like that they're exploring these different flavors of Star Wars is what I like about it in a sense.
Well, I
you know?
think I think as Star Wars goes on, the original trilogy, Vader, Luke is really going to be, get into like lore and be pushed out. They have to concentrate on other things. They can't focus constantly on
those
the
characters.
Emperor, Death Star.
right.
They just can't. They got to expand it out. I mean, Steven and I were talking a little bit about Star Trek. That was almost tonight's thing. We were talking about like sci-fi stuff, but Star Trek I enjoy more. Well, up until Enterprise. Once STD came out, I'm not into any of that other crap. But the lore is built out. There's multiple planets. And they really dive into the Federation. Star Wars has still been, at least the movies, Emperor.
It's
Vader.
a Skywalker story in a sense.
And I still
Yeah.
have not seen. I still want to see, like, if you guys have not heard or read the book, Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. First of all, fantastic book. That's why I want to see a trilogy of that. I want to see the trilogy of Vader going ape shit, killing Jedi, all the stuff up until between 3 and 4. So much happened. This book was really good, and that's what I want to see. I want to see ape shit Vader going
I
nuts.
agree with that actually.
Yeah. That would be nice.
I feel like writing a letter to Lucasfilm and going, show us what Vader can really do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not just sort of old man choking people and when it's gonna die in Jedi and Empire, and then he's really young Anakin, and then he does all this crazy wonderful things, and we see him a little bit in Rogue One
Yeah.
in that hallway for
Right.
a brief
And
what
that
2
wasn't even
minutes,
gonna-
if
and that wasn't even supposed to be in there. They said, you know what, we got to put some Vader in here. That was a reshoot, and it's probably one of
Yeah.
the best scenes. I mean, the movie was pretty good, I admit.
Yeah, I
Rogue
don't know what
One's
they're
pretty good.
smoking over there to tell their stories, because some of this to us it's obvious, but to them somehow they too many board meetings, I guess, and they talk about other stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
who knows?
there's a lot of untapped Sith stories that I
Oh,
think
yeah.
would be great movies.
Oh yeah,
So
what's it, Reverend Revan, Darth Revan? Holy
Revan,
crap, that is a crazy good story.
yeah.
If you get
All
the
the
Darth Revan story,
Tell the story of Plagueis the Wise, right?
the
There
one
you
that they
go.
all talk about, Darth Plagueis. Like, I mean, he was able to do stuff just like with metachlorians and whatever,
Yeah.
modify that. So that'd be an interesting story,
Yeah.
So I'd like to see. I don't know if you guys ever seen the cinematic trailer for the Star Wars Online MMO Old Republic, where they have like a Jedi take down a Star Destroyer, and it crashes in front of them.
Wasn't that Star
like-
Killer?
No, well, yeah, probably him, but there's apparently in the Old Republic that was a common thing, and they were powerful. Blah blah blah. Show us that kick-ass stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we'd love to see that, even if it's not Skywalker stuff. So I think it's like you're saying, untapped potential.
As long as
there.
it's not Ray stuff. Then we're-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Ray,
Glenn-
we've seen enough.
Glenn, if you were going down the Star Trek path, I there's only a little bit I know about Star Trek, and I stopped at Next Generation a little bit, and I haven't watched that in forever. Love the movies, but that's all for me. I never kept going with Star
it's,
Trek.
it's I think a lot of people like sci-fi, but definitely people have their things. Like if I had my choice, I would go with the 78 Galactica or the 75 Space 1999. I mean, those are the ones that really, when I was young, those are the ones that really got me. And then
But we remember stuff better than they really were, though. You gotta remember that.
oh yeah, we've gone down that path. I'm watching like $6 Million Man. I was like, as a kid, man, everyone was doing the and doing the. everywhere. Then they watch a couple episodes, like
What was I smoking?
Yeah, as a kid, what was going on? They're really, you maybe have 1 or 2 episodes that are okay, but the rest of them are just like Steve Austin's mustache and his chest hair. That's what you
That's
had
it.
back then.
That's it. And you know what? I think you know what I think we should ask the chat in one of these episodes, maybe not tonight, but what was the show that you revisited that made you clue into what exactly Glenn just said, where you went, wow, do I remember stuff better than it really was? That
True.
moment, because I think every grown ass man goes through that
might
where they
be-
went, oh,
That might be a good show to do. That might be a good show
mine
to
was
do.
The Man from Atlantis. I
Oh
couldn't
God!
stay up. And then I watched it, downloaded it because you couldn't get it anywhere, so I had to grab it off the internet. I watched one episode. I was like, "What the hell, man!"
Yeah.
Like, turned it off, deleted the files, and that was the end of that.
Now, Rex, I have to ask you. So,
Yeah.
I know you're a Donkey Kong guy, and you got the kill screen, right? You did the kill screen on Donkey Kong. You play.
Well, technically, wait. Let me
go
be
ahead,
clear.
go.
I don't want to lie to anybody.
Okay.
I have the kill screen in Donkey Kong Jr. Okay,
The one that's
but in
behind you there.
Donkey Kong, I technically only have I have 968,000 as my score, which is well but beyond a kill screen. But I never technically got to the kill screen because all I've tried to do is get 1 million, and I've never I getting the kill screen was never my goal in Donkey Kong. So as I revisited Donkey Kong and said, you know what, everybody has the kill screen. I'm going to go after 1 million points because that is a lot harder than the kill screen.
So
I've never could I do it if easily? Probably within a week I could get it. You know, if I just focused on the kill screen of Donkey Kong. So
now in that almost 1 million score, how many hours did it take you, or how long did it take you to get to that score?
To train like Rocky to get there.
Too much. Gosh, I was playing probably okay. So the story goes, my high score was like 300 something thousand, and then maybe 5 or 4 years ago, I started revisiting Donkey Kong, and I, slowly went up. I said, I'm going to go get after 1 million. So I was playing 4 times a week,
Oh wow.
hours at a time.
Hours.
And, the wife, yes, the wife was, she was fed up at
She had the
at a certain
divorce
point.
papers all
Yeah.
ready
But
to go. I guess.
fortunately, your son can wipe his own tushy. So you didn't have
Yes,
him come over,
right.
Dad, wipe my
Yeah,
butt.
he was old enough where he could do that for sure. If 4 or 5 years, or at least his mom was helping him. So, and then I put the arcade downstairs, like where I could, at least be around them so I could feel included. I wasn't out in a garage like Steve Wiebe, so I was, but a game, you play one game and, it takes at least an hour and a half to 2 hours for one game. So then you start and you get off to a bad start. You play 30 minutes and you die. You got to start again. You're like, well, I didn't get to the level I want. So a session could be easily 3 hours sessions, So
And do you record yours like a videotape?
yeah, I streamed.
You
I
do?
recorded every one. I either streamed or recorded every single time I played. Yeah. So I play on Twitch. So most people don't know, but that's where I play. That's where I've been doing Donkey Kong 3. That's where we do our Golden Tee. I just stream it on Twitch. I don't have any followers, which is good for me. I just want it for recording purposes and for tracking. Now, Twitch will throw away your videos, I think, after 2 weeks or something like that, unless you highlight them. So if I have a high score, a personal best, or some major accomplishment, I'll highlight the video and do that. So
Then it's archived for a while, or
then it's archived forever, I believe, at least for what I know. Yeah.
So
you got a
Can you
contagious smile? Sorry,
you
I'm just reading the comments too.
yeah, I have a contagious smile, which is nice to hear. Thanks, Shotgun Sean. We didn't even say hi to everyone in the chat. So, because Rex is here, I'm just happy to have him on. He's a good friend, and we didn't even go through the chat. So first of all, welcome everyone here in the chat. There's a lot of stuff to cover today, a lot of things to talk about. Rex was like, what do we like? What's our theme tonight? What are we going to talk about? We're the Seinfeld of shows. We're just 3 guys talking. Topic comes into our head. You see something in the chat, we talk about it. But
We're
there's
like
one
drunk drivers on a road.
we are. But there is one thing I did want to talk to you about was, again, because I know you're very much into Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. How was it to have Steve Wiebe on your show? Because he's a really good guy. I know it, but he was on your show. What was that like?
Oh, it was fantastic. I got to tell you, if you haven't seen that interview and you're in the chat, you got to go to my channel and watch the Steve Wiebe interview. It was just a lot of fun, and getting him on and seeing, he's just such a calm, cool, collect guy. And he was telling us a few stories before, which I can't even share because he told me some things to talk about, not to talk about. And, before the show and afterwards, I wrote him some emails, but just having him on as just somebody who, I wouldn't say an idol per se, but somebody who actually, kind of got me motivated to go further in Donkey Kong. Right. And somebody, the great thing is about is you don't see him out there that often, Glenn. You don't see him out in the public space, not like a Billy Mitchell or like anybody like that. So getting a hold of him was harder than anything. I was trying to get a hold of him for months, I would say even years, almost trying to get a hold of him, reaching out, and I couldn't do it. And finally, some friends on the Donkey Kong forum found out that I, would really love to interview him on my channel. And they're like, well, I know him. I'll reach out for him to, I'll reach out to him for you. And they reached out to him, and even months went by after them reaching out to him. And they're like, hey, did he get back to you? I'm like, no, not yet. They're like, I'll reach out to him again. Hey, did he get, finally, they're like, all right. They're like, he said, here's his email. Just email him directly, because he's not a social media guy. He's like not too much on social media or any of that, So finally emailed him, had some back and forth, and he was like, sure, I'll do it. And then I even offered, I'm like, do you want me to donate some money to your school for doing this, or do you have a charity? I'm like, I don't want to waste your time, and I want to make sure it's worth. He was like, no, I'll do it. He's like, hey, just promote my YouTube channel. That's all I care about, and my music. I'm like, great, and then hearing the stories. Sorry about going on and on, but hearing the stories.
We want to hear it.
Well, and here was when I really wanted to interview him. I'll tell you the real time I wanted to interview him. Like I said in the thing. Well, a few years ago when I'm watching a movie and I see him on that movie Four Christmases.
Right.
And I go, I got it. That was when it triggered in my head. I'm like, I would love to talk to this guy. If I could get him on my channel and get him on it. That was the first time I was like, what a great, not only could we talk about Donkey Kong and all this stuff going on about Billy Mitchell, but we could talk about, acting. So that's when I thought, oh, this would be a great guest. And it was a fantastic,
that's really cool
interview. So.
I mean, he was just a regular guy like us when King of Kong hit. And you're like,
I felt bad.
This guy just took off after that documentary came out. And he was like the underdog story that just happened.
I honestly felt bad for him. I know documentaries, they always play things up for certain things. But I just felt bad. You could see the hurt in him. He wasn't acting. You could see he was really trying. He was putting his best effort forward. He kept hitting brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. But at the end, it's one of those feel good things. At the end, he got the score, and he just, does that.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, and what was interesting too is like the first score when we talked to him and we said, what we couldn't figure out why your score got denied, except in the movie. They say, oh, there was some gook on a chip and this and that. And he goes, guys, I didn't even know that's why they never told me really why my score was rejected. He goes, I only heard about that gook story when they put the movie out. He's they never really explained to me why my score was not, accepted by Twin Galaxies in the end. He's like, because I got a board from some random guy that doesn't like Billy Mitchell. So just because the PCB came from
Terrific,
him.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah. Mr. What is it again? I forget now.
Some guy we didn't like in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jason will know. But I've watched The King of Kong. I remember I was actually working at the Home Depot part-time at the time. And I was in the break room, and I'm on my Pocket PC phone, Windows phone. Those were the days. And I was supposed to think, King of Kong, what the hell is this? And there was a picture of Billy Mitchell there, and I'm reading this thing. This is a movie? And then once I saw it, man, it's definitely one of my favorite films. I watch it again. I made all my friends, even Jen, I made her watch it. I'm sure she's pissed I made her watch that, but she made her watch it. And it was just a good story. It's like Rocky. It's like this underdog person coming out. But he really is, and you're a testament. That's who he was. The person you saw in that movie is him.
Yeah. he's just a really nice and talented guy. And here's something funny is when I first reached out to him, the guy who got me in touch with him, he's like, now you need to know he's friends with Billy Mitchell. They're on good terms. This is years ago. This is like 2-something years ago, when I first started trying to reach out to him.
Don't start a fight.
So he's like, yeah, don't, but then when I talked to him this time, we asked him, what's your relationship with Billy? And he's like, well, I haven't talked to him in years. He said, but yeah, obviously he was, cordial with him back in the day, even when the movie was going on. But he did say that, there's a sour taste in his mouth now that all this information is coming out,
right?
On and
meme stuff and all that.
Yeah, me and Kev kind of talked a little bit about it before and a little after about, but that's kind of where he was at with his relationship with Billy Mitchell now.
I don't think he's got many friends these days, Billy Mitchell.
No.
Unfortunately.
And then at the end of our interview, he was going to talk about the Boomers Arcade score, but I had to cut him off because our time was going. And the Boomers Arcade story, for people that were asking, I had to email him after, and he answered. There was, and it's in one video. I saw it in one video after he said something that Billy Mitchell was at a Boomers Arcade, and he submitted 2 world records on the same day, one for Donkey Kong Jr. and one for Donkey Kong. And come to find out, like, they pulled some stunt for TV purposes where they were acting like they were switching the board out from Donkey Kong to Donkey Kong Jr. or vice versa, and it was actually the same board. There wasn't even 2 boards there, and like nobody saw the scores yet. Twin Galaxies accepted them or something. It was just a really bizarre story, and it was just stories like that gave him that bad taste in his mouth for Billy.
Yeah, I don't know what Twin Galaxies is like nowadays. I always thought of it like almost like a old boys club in a sense. Not for everybody participating, but it just seemed the people at the top were all buddies from the 80s, the kind of thing, and then you're like, guys,
well, I think that's
be a little bit more diplomatic.
What kind of became the problem? They were a clique, and if you weren't in that clique, it seems like you had to fire, break through a brick wall where you shouldn't be. It's a scoreboard. You put your score in, you should be able to post it. So I think that's what Steve Wiebe kind of broke through there with them, was that. It's just sad.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's just sad here to go through all that, because like his wife said in the documentary, he's flying out, he's going to all these shows. He's doing, even Billy Mitchell, he was at Fun Spot in Florida, like 5 minutes away from his restaurant. He didn't even go there. But Billy, Steve went from Washington State all the way down to Fun Spot to do this. That's an expense just for a score.
Yeah. Yeah. And people say that, Billy, you never see, as much as Billy says, it's all about competing in public. You never see him compete in public. No. You just don't see him compete in public.
You'll see him explains a lot nowadays.
Yeah. You might have seen him play in public at these events and stuff, but never competing, anymore. So I don't know.
I think there's a reason for that.
Well, I think the thing is, I can't say that he's not a good player. I think Billy Mitchell is a good player. I mean, he is. But Twin Galaxies, G4 TV was on there a lot. He's got this big, almost like a godlike persona. And now if you do play and you muff up, although I think it's destroyed anyway for the most part, it takes him down from what this persona. And that was, and Twin Galaxies even said that, Billy was like that guy who was, he was like it.
The poster child
so
of
they had to protect
arcade
that.
games.
They had to protect that, but they didn't realize, I don't think they even realized that, gaming is as big as it is. And eventually, people are going to start asking questions. And that's kind of what happened. And then it kind of fell apart.
And you got to remember, he gamers is no different than like athletes. They always want to stay on top, right? And they'll do anything it takes to stay on top. And that was Billy. No different than Barry Bonds or Lance Armstrong, or any of those, Alex Rodriguez, all these guys who cheat and do something out of the ordinary, they just are trying to stay on top. And maybe that's what kind of convinced him, I got to, put this MAME score, because if Steve Wiebe beats me, then I got to be on top and come, so they'll do whatever it takes.
Well, that's what Billy apparently did. He got all these scores and hid them away. And then when someone got the score, he would take that tape back. See, I already beat that score.
Yeah.
I beat that score.
Yeah.
So I get it to a point. I mean, look at me. I'm on top of the world, right? I'm this big guy here, and I got to try and stay on top. I got to do it.
Yeah.
That's why I have REXER on here to help me.
Yeah, right.
Keep on top.
look at it this way: that documentary made it really clear to me what kind of person he was, whether it was faked or not, or staged or not, or acting or not. I didn't like the whole thing about him personally. That's just my personal opinion.
Well,
I just didn't like the way he treated people, the way the whole thing. It's
think
not my type of person that I
part
like.
of the documentary, and I could be wrong. I think part of the documentary was kind of because I've heard a lot of people say thing about Billy that he puts a persona on out in public to kind of be that way, but he's not really like that behind the scenes. However, where all the stuff's been going on with, like, I've seen there's like a 4-hour MAME documentary showing you everything Billy Mitchell did, and like I forgot the guy's name on YouTube. We looked up a 4-hour YouTube video.
Carl Joust.
There you go.
Joust or
So
whatever.
when you
He
see
goes
something-
on every other video
guy.
from that guy. It's a hate Billy Mitchell video.
Yeah,
And there's a thing in there that said he's suing me now.
Yes.
Kind
But
of
you know, when
thing.
you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
stuff like that, then you kind of wonder. And again, Rexer was totally right. When you're on top, some people will do anything at all costs to stay on top, and he may have fallen into that trap. But okay, let's move away. I don't want to take up the whole show.
This ain't the
just talking
Billy
about
Mitchell
that.
show.
No, move on there. So Rex, I got to ask you because obviously you grew up. You're about our age. I don't think you're a little bit younger, but like when you were growing up, I mean, what was your first experience with gaming? Was it a home console? Was it an arcade? Did you have one? Was it a friend who had one?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of backdrop. So we never had a gaming console when in the first few years of my life, when I started to remember things, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and we had a pool table, and my dad didn't want the pool table anymore because it was just too big, bulky, right? So he traded the pool table for an Atari 2600.
Really? Nice.
Yes. And that's
was mighty brave of him because
that was our
value.
yeah, that was our introduction to gaming. And me and my brother played it nonstop. We started with Pong or whatever, and whether it was combat, we always, our big go-to was racing, indie racing. That was our big go-to.
The 8500 game with the driving paddle.
Yeah, driving paddles, steering paddles. We always did the ice. We loved the ice board where you're slippery. The board's slippery.
The car
going
pretty much
around.
stayed the same direction. It was just going around like this.
Just going. Yes, exactly. So, those were our go-to games. And then as I got a little older, maybe around 8, 9, my neighbor had an Intellivision, and that was just better than the Atari 2600.
Sports games, definitely for sports games.
Well, that's all we played was baseball. Right? We played baseball non-stop on the Intellivision, and we played skiing. That was another big one. I'm trying to think, maybe a little snafu.
You got to play football. I had a great football game on there.
We didn't play football too much.
Wow, really?
I don't think he was a football guy, if I remember. I'm trying to remember here. You kind of put me on the spot here. I'm trying to remember some of the games we've played, but we played a lot. It's just I remember, those two specifically. So, start with 2600, then Intellivision. Then he got an Intellivision 2. So he upgraded from Intellivision to Intellivision 2.
A little white box.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have in a television, but I don't have an Intellivision 2. I actually want the Intellivision 2. That I don't collect consoles, but if I was really going into the collection time, I would get an Intellivision 2. I just thought it was awesome.
That was actually the first one I got.
Oh,
I got the Intellivision 2, and then later I got a regular Intellivision.
Oh wow, okay.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Aside from the size, it's basically the same. I think there's a different BIOS where a couple
some of the games didn't play on the
the
2.
Coleco games didn't work at all.
Okay.
But
Donkey
the
Kong, you
Intellivision
played on the
2 did have an Atari module. They
Okay.
did have an Atari, so you could, like the ColecoVision expansion module 1, so you could play Atari games in it. I actually have the original Intellivision, but I got and I shoot myself every day. I had the original computer module where you took your entire Intellivision and it dropped in. It had a cassette drive built in. There was only like 2,000 made. I had one, wanted a motorcycle. I traded that for a motorcycle. It's like priceless these days.
Yeah.
And I bought the ECS computer, which is basically not even a calculator. It's the biggest piece of garbage.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. But some of the other things I do remember, let me see. I remember getting Pac-Man on the Atari 20 and being disappointed. I remember that.
Like everyone.
So I remember E.T. kind of being disappointed, but not as disappointed as everybody else. Like when it was people saying it was the worst game ever. I don't remember thinking it was the worst game ever. You know.
I remember being
Agreed.
confused playing that game.
Yeah, maybe a little more confused when you fell into the hole and you're like, "What's going on?" You know, and
Yeah, I did
but
see a hole. How does there a hole here? There was no hole on the screen.
yeah,
And you fell, and you're like, "Oh, this sucks."
Now with Jason right
Yeah.
here, Jason's saying the Atari was made with off-the-shelf parts, and so Coleco and Mattel were able to clone it. Mostly, yes. The TIA chip was a custom chip, and that's how Atari went after Coleco, because Coleco was using a cloned TIA, but it was still a cloned. So they ended up paying royalties. So Coleco, I don't know if Intellivision, Mattel did, but Coleco ended up paying Atari
I didn't even know there was
royalties.
an Atari thing for the Intellivision.
Yes, there was. I don't think it was very short.
Yeah, yeah.
It came towards the end.
Oh, gotcha.
So Rex, I got X and X things. I don't know. This is what I don't know about you, man. Like, what's your
Yeah.
favorite like movie? I mean, Steven and I were kind of sci-fi space guys. I know you like Star Wars. Is that your favorite movie?
Boy, that's a tough one. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of all time. It's close. Empire Strikes Back. It would be close to my
Doesn't need
favorite
to be
of all
sci-fi.
time.
It could be Gone with
I
the
know,
Wind. For
I
all
know,
I
You
I
can,
love-
you can like
I'll
Steel
give you- can I
Magnolias.
give you a top
If you like Steel
five? Let me-
Magnolias, that's
Yeah,
fine, Rex.
top five.
It's
Let me give
okay.
you a top
Top five.
five.
No judge.
Shawshank Redemption, Empire Strikes Back, Braveheart.
Braveheart. Yeah.
I got to throw a baseball movie in there.
Mr. Baseball.
Field of Dreams.
No, I'm gonna go with Field of Dreams. Although I'm close with The Natural. I'd be really close with The Natural. And then a fifth movie,
League of Their Own. No, I'm
Goodfellas.
sorry.
Goodfellas would be 5.
Goodfellas.
I was gonna say
That-
League of
that's
Their
a quick
Own.
list. I'm missing some in there, but
That's okay.
But
You
you
can
know
do
what's
that.
funny? Every time we get a guest on, when they name off their movies, you can tell the generation they grew up in
Oh,
by
yeah.
the movies they naming
Sure.
off, because my movies are different than a little bit. Glenn's a little older than I am, not by much, but his movies are a little different than mine, and then same thing with you and other guests we've had on. It's pretty interesting. I get a kick out of it every time.
Oh, I'm guessing like if you had some real younger, sci-fi guys on, they would be picking some Marvel movies, some Avengers, what I
Which
mean?
is okay.
Yeah.
Those are
Which is
those are
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Those are okay.
Yeah.
Different generation. That's all.
As long as they don't say, and I've had a few people say, I like episode 7, 8, 9 of Star Wars. And I'm like, I'm going to boot you off the channel. You're going to be gone. Not
Bye-bye.
gonna tolerate it.
Yeah, no, it's But
Well-
if what's yours, Glenn? If you had to take a bullet for a movie, what would it be?
Well, I just
one movie.
again,
Just one.
I'm going to say just one movie. I got to pick just the movie.
The movie that you'll take a bullet for.
Actually,
if you're
Star
locked up
Trek
in a
2:
room,
The
it's
Wrath of Khan.
dark.
I love Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan. I think that is
It's
just
a
a
good
really good film. I thought it
Oh,
was
really?
well done. I really do. I go back all the time. When I saw it as a kid, I remember crying like a bitch when Spock died. I'm like, I went home to my mom. Like, they killed Spock. He's dead. I was crying. I was only 13 at the time, so it was okay. But yeah, man, that
It hurt you.
It did. It did.
Oh wow.
It's a same thing
Yeah.
with like I didn't see Transformers the movie in the theater. I didn't. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not going to see that in the theater. But I did see it on video cassette. I'm like, they killed Optimus Prime. I was like, what? It's one of those moments where you're just like, what the
Yeah.
hell were they thinking?
Then they bring
Yeah.
him back 3 episodes later. or
Right,
months
right.
later or
Always
whatever.
bring him back.
Yeah.
You know.
he's
So
a
Rex,
scrap.
what's it like working with Kev? What's that like, man? You're on your show. You work with Kev. Is he bringing you down? Is he raising you up? What's he doing?
He's great. I mean, you got to remember, when I first started doing shows, I would bring just tons of people on, and I didn't want to
I miss
have like a
those.
specific
I miss all
co-host.
those
I
shows you used to
I
do
wanted
with
to.
everyone, yeah.
No, I know. They were a lot of work though, Glenn. A lot of them were a
Oh.
lot of work, more work than I do now.
I believe
on
it.
my shows, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I gotta tone back the show and make it easier. But I wouldn't have a one co-host. I would just bring on different people and do the show myself. And then we brought Kev on a couple times, and then I said, you know what? If I want to make this easier, I need a co-host who can talk, who can carry the weight, who also has kind of the same opinions as I am, but not 100%, but at least sees, and then fits well. You don't want somebody with the same outgoing personality as I do. You don't want somebody loud and obnoxious like me. You don't want two of us, right? So you got Kev, who's a little bit quieter and more reserved, right? But still has opinions. So I think it's like a good mix when we go on a show together, so.
See, Glenn and I hate each other.
Yeah, we
That's
do.
The best
He's
thing.
the biggest
So
piece of, I can't
it
stand
works.
this guy.
it works out. This guy here, like, over top of REXER,
So I'm going to bring
But-
something up here. I want your opinion on this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What do we think about New Wave Toys Replicade skeet ball machine that they're talking about? What do you think, Rex?
I'm kind of torn on it. I think it's, it's if it's a little bit playable, yeah, I mean it could be fun, a miniature skeet ball. It to me it's no different than an arcade, right? I mean, this isn't it's something in an arcade.
Right.
It's no different. Was I a skeet ball player? No. Are my kids? Do they love it? Yes. When I go, do I play skeet ball with them? Yes. It's fun. Could it be fun in the miniature format? I don't know. I don't know how you're going to throw them up there or how you shoot them up there, if it's playable or just I don't know. Would I buy it? Probably not. No. But
I don't
do I buy?
understand this
Let
stuff.
me caveat this with I don't buy a lot of the other stuff, right? So don't take my word for it. If you're a collector of these things, you need this.
Right.
You need this in your arcade miniature collection if you collect these things. Period.
What do you think, Steven?
I don't see the physics working any good. Like when you throw, there's a certain weight to the ball that hits the ramp and goes in. If this thing is like the size of a ball bearing and it's not heavy enough to do what it's supposed to do properly, or at least give you that sensation, people are going to try this once or twice and then go, well, no. It's not meant to be a big one, obviously, but still.
This was shown, not to everyone. I saw it at the show. I didn't get a chance to try a ball, though. Now, I will say, when my son was younger, 10, 12 years ago, I got a little skeet ball thing, but it used like a pool plunger. So you had the ball, you didn't throw the ball, kind of plunge it up. And it's okay. I mean, it's kept score. Me, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. Because even though it's 1/6 scale, it's going to be pretty long. I mean, it's got to be for it to do it. So I just don't know where I would put it. I'm an arcade collector. I'm a video game collector. So I don't know how this may fit into my particular collecting. But, I'll see what happens. Maybe there's something really cool in there. I don't know.
Not for me.
Glenn, if I had to ask you, what's more popular, skee ball or arcades?
Oh, it's going to be arcades. It's going to be absolutely arcades.
See? I don't think so. I think skee ball's more popular.
You got to hear what he said. REXER said what's
arcades.
more popular, not
more popular.
what you like, right?
Well, now I won't say recent arcades, but if you put a bunch of old school, arcades like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and you put skee ball in a Chuck E. Cheese, everybody's playing skee ball. It's more,
you know what?
And maybe that's the direction they're taking. Is more people are. I think so. I mean, skee ball is still around today. It's been going forever.
I think what you're saying, like if you're going to an arcade, like Chuck E. Cheese, that's where we used to play it. You don't really have that in the house. So you may gravitate to that more. You technically could play Pac-Man and other games at home. So you might be right. If you're looking for more of a family gathering type of thing, you might be right. You might be right. I wouldn't be the first time Glenn was wrong, that's for sure.
No, it's whack-a-mole. I'd be all over that.
That's another one. Yeah.
I was actually surprised they didn't come out with like a whack-a-mole first, because that's
it probably get destroyed.
No, Super Impulse made a really small one. It played pretty good, but it had a little thing on it. I have it somewhere, but
interesting.
Not too bad.
I don't know. It's I'm gonna pass on the skeet ball, to be honest, because it's not my cup of tea.
So
I thought somebody had one like Kong, or did he just review it at that expo? I can't remember.
Actually, you know what? Pliskin just said here, Glenn will put a bag over it just for you guys tonight. If you look down at my TV set there with my Build-A-Case, I took every bag off. I was gonna leave them on. I'm like, you know what? You don't see anything. So I took off every bag just for REXER coming on the show. I took them all off. So you can see over here, I did take off all my bags. If I can go over here, let's see. I can zoom in on this a little bit here. Look at that. Everyone's got all their bags off. This camera's a little bit too fast for my taste.
I have a confession for you, Glenn.
Yeah.
When I would see those bags over top of those arcades, you remember that commercial about, I want to say about 20 years ago, the old woman that had the plastic on her furniture and it was a condom commercial? Wrap it up. It reminded me of that. I'm like,
that's so
Glenn's
funny.
an old guy.
What?
I am.
He wraps up his stuff.
Are you going to put the bags back on, Glenn, when the show's over, and just put them all back?
Yeah, I gotta go downstairs. It'll be half hour. Put
Can't-
all the bags
Can't
right
have them
back
be
on.
dusty.
Yep, gotta put them back on.
You can't get them dusty.
No, I can't. What was I going to say? So another thing I wanted to kind of talk about is John D. I'm going to bring him up because I've heard rumors that he might be starting his own, arcade thing. I don't know. I kind of heard it. I think yesterday on Steven's show. Any rumors that you heard about John D coming into? Because I heard he went into wrestling. He's like in wrestling. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's confirmed that he's in some sort of wrestling. I don't know, something to do with wrestling. But I also heard that we talked about the Bash Box, and for those who don't know, it's just that new gaming console. He's affiliated with Bill and the Bash Box. He's helping him do whatever it is, licensing, building. As for his own arcade company or associating with another one, I have not heard anything. But then again, I'm not. I don't have him on speed dial like these other, arcade one-up guys
I
do.
don't. There's no phone number. There will never be a time or a day where I'll ever speak to that guy again.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah, me neither for that matter. But
Wrestling? Hey, speaking of kind of wrestling, did you guys hear that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul or whatever?
Yeah,
they're gonna on this summer.
Tyson's going to kill someone on live TV. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I looked
at
that
work.
and went,
We've been having arguments who is going to win at work. All the young kids think Jake Paul. A lot of us think it's staged anyway, but
probably it could be.
I think it's a 4-round fight or a 3-round or 4-round fight. I can't remember.
Mike Tyson in his prime would have knocked him out in a couple
kill him.
seconds.
Yeah, I think he still wins.
I don't know.
He still wins.
I don't know because he's been doing some acting and he's into the religious stuff. Maybe he's slacked off, or he's still hard as nails.
If he gets that
Iron Mike Tyson.
If he gets that uppercut in, that's his thing. If he comes in below and gets you like that, done.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Tyson stays in close.
But did you see all the memes that got generated? Because it was all like Nintendo, Glass Joe, and Mike Tyson himself on NES. The NES predicted the future, kind of thing. It had the NES screen with Tyson and the guy that looks like Jake Paul. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh!
You got to go see those memes. They're hilarious. It's like, wow, somebody just after the whole announcement was done, an hour later, that stuff was all over the internet, and I was like, damn. So I want to see it just even if it lasts 5 minutes. I still want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, we even at work, we're getting into arguments of whether Mike Tyson was overrated and all this stuff. And boy, it got heavy at work, man, and they're waiting for the line to go up, who's favored, all that stuff, so.
Pliskin says the fight will last 32 seconds.
Yeah. Well, back
I
in the
don't
day,
even know if it'll be that much.
I remember back in the day, pay-per-view, right? You had to pay pay-per-view, but you knew if you bought a Tyson pay-per-view, you were throwing your money away because the fight's going to be over in under a minute. You're going to spend all this money and then bump, and he was done, and that was it.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I don't watch boxing, but when I'd watch Mike Tyson because of the hype that surrounded him, and I watched this one. It was this British, big African American guy, British, and he was ginormous, and he was like bad mouthing, Mike Tyson, blah blah blah. Mike Tyson took him out, man. Like
Bruno. Was it Bruno?
Yes. He fell down like a brick shithouse, man. And I was like, wow, that'll shut your yapper, eh? Holy crap.
Yeah.
The guy was huge, like a monster of a human being, like 6'4", 250 pounds of not muscle, but just body weight in general. Mike Tyson took him out, and I think he rang his bell like 50 times in the corner, and I was like, oh my God. But I don't watch this stuff, but when I see it, I have a respect for it. So.
Rex, I have to ask you this as well, because I know you have kids, and I know obviously you got the consoles and the arcades. My son, no interest. He plays Fortnite, Minecraft. I know your son does that too, but does he take any interest in like your machines? You got pinball, you got Donkey Kong Jr. Does he take interest in this stuff, or?
A little bit, not nothing, but I'll put it in an old game. We put in the original Contra, and he really liked that. Games like that. He'll play a little bit of Donkey Kong here and there. He gets frustrated because it's so hard. A little bit of Junior. He'll definitely play the pinballs, once in a while. But other than that, no, it's Fortnite, it's the PS4, it's the Roblox, it's the Minecraft. A little bit of Switch. He likes Mario on the Switch. He'll play a lot of the Mario games on the Switch. So yeah, it's kind of sad. You want them to get into some of the other games, but it's they just don't like them. I mean,
And that's
he will play on the multi-cade. He plays a lot of. We used to play a lot of Mario Kart on the arcade. I put Nintendo Mario Kart on the arcade. And we played a lot of that. We play Sunset Riders. He wanted to play Cadillacs and Dinosaurs the other day. So beat 'em ups once in a while he'll play. So
that's cool.
So you can hear him right now. He's actually here. I try to make him be quiet. He's playing Fortnite right now, actually.
You can't play Fortnite quietly.
You can.
No.
You killed me. You killed me.
Yeah.
Most children don't like video game death. They don't. They don't react well to it.
No.
We're at our age, we're so numb to it. We're like,
Right.
whatever. I died 50 times. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what got me about Nintendo, at least on the Wii, because my son was probably 8 at the time, and he's playing it, and after 3 tries, it lets you just walk through the level. I'm like, what's this? What's that? He goes, well, if you can't beat it, if you can't beat it, it lets you walk through. He said, that's just like the trophy for just showing up to school. Here's your trophy for showing up to school. I said, that's the biggest bullshit I've ever
Here's
seen.
your trophy. Yeah. Chase. Shh. See, now he's talking.
Okay.
He got some people online, Glenn. Some people came on, his friend or
that's okay.
his
Cole,
brother.
I'm surprised you can't hear him screaming over there.
Okay, but please be quiet.
He's like going to be 19, so he's doing it till like 5 o'clock in the morning when his old man is trying to sleep. I hear, oh, you cheated. You sniped me. That's all I hear all night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
they
get
call
mad when they die.
Campers like we used to.
Yeah.
Camper.
They get mad. I got sniped. I can't believe I got sniped. He argues with his brother. I need that weapon. You took my slap juice or something. I'm like, what the heck?
My kids don't play my arcade games either.
They don't.
Okay.
And
they used to.
You got more real arcades too. You got Neo Geo. You got the Miss Pac-Man. You have Turtles.
They play. You know what my son likes to do is when he invites his buddies over, he likes to show off the little arcade, my arcade that I have. So the Neo Geo, like Glenn said, the Miss Pac-Man and the Turtles. It's the real thing, and these kids love it because they can crank the music, bring their Bluetooth speaker, not real speakers, a Bluetooth speaker, and then they just listen to whatever they need, and they play in there for a couple hours, and then they get out and they have their fix for a few months.
Yeah,
but he doesn't go in there all the time, so it's
I got a
it
good
is what
question
it
for
is.
REXER and Steven for you too. I'm gonna ask REXER first. What is your, aside from your wife and your kids and pets, that's always gonna be a given. I would never put that out there. Outside of that, what is your most prized possession? What is your holy grail thing that you have that other people may go, but to you, that's your thing?
Yeah,
I never. Question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I never really got into attachment like the Jedi. Glenn, don't get into attachment.
I am a Sith all the way, boy. Let me tell you right now, I am Sith.
Like I guess we would cry if it disappeared or broke or got stolen.
There's gonna be something.
Well, I have the only thing I've kept on for a long time is I have a Jeep Wrangler from 2002.
It still runs.
So that that's my collectible, one of my collectibles. I don't really drive it that much, but
it's a Jeep. I know. I do have.
Yeah, it's a Jeep, right? And then obviously now probably the Foo Fighters,
Okay.
That's probably, the next thing, that I'd really be upset if something happened to it, if it broke or went, everything else is kind of replaceable. The Donkey Kongs,
they are.
They are.
I don't know. Me, it's more my Commodore machines. If I were to group them up because I love them all equally, Commodore 64, my Amiga, that to me, those are basically part of who I am today. in a sense of the love of computers and stuff like that, right? So if I had to put one thing, it would be those. A PC you can replace, the video cards, all that stuff you could replace.
Yeah.
Like REXER said, there's a lot of stuff you can just replace.
Right.
Even my Toyota Tacoma, I love it a lot, but it's replaceable. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically it.
I still have my original Nintendo, so that's kind of precious
that's
to me.
cool.
You know, it's you know, like I have to move the cartridge just a little bit. You know, you got to kind of slide it to make it work. You know, and then that's how you know like it's your Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like you always got a little quirk of something to make it work right or do something.
Yeah.
So if that broke, you know, that kind of like hurt. Like, oh man, you know, because that was a big part of growing up and a big part of me.
The nice part is that the Nintendo's easily fixed, which is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
In other words, it's not like another piece of technology that we probably own somewhere that if that broke, it's irreplaceable. At least at NES, they sold millions of them, and
Yeah.
at least you could get another one in Frankenstein, something
Yeah.
that can work again. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well,
But
somebody
there's
told
some
me that you
stuff
could
you
buy
can't.
the pin thing, a third-party pin
Yeah.
like
made
connector, and then you could just switch it out. And I'm like,
Be careful. Some
yeah,
of them
not
are
yet.
garbage. Some of them
Yes.
are garbage. Just
Okay.
remember that. Some
Yeah.
of them are made in
They make
China
it
or
now,
whatever, and they're
so you can just
terrible.
slide it in versus having to drop it down.
Yeah.
But there was an earlier version, I think, that was too tight, and it actually became very difficult to get the cartridge out. But I think they fixed
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
called
because
the blinking win or something like that, or a blinking light win. It's basically instead of putting the cartridge in and clicking it down or whatever, you know, it just
yeah.
goes in straight into an
Insert it.
edge connector, and it's
Right.
a good fit. Like it works
Yeah.
really good. I've got 2 NESs with that in there, and it works
Yeah.
like a champ. So, which is good.
Well, mine, I see Video Game Vegas, and I appreciate that. I've always wanted to get an Adventure Vision from Entex. So they're like, if you go on eBay right now, look up Entex Adventure Vision. There's one for $3,000 and one for I think $5,000. That's a holy
Damn.
grail thing. That is a holy grail thing. But believe it or not, that is not my most cherished thing. My most cherished thing, and you're all gonna think it's the most corny thing in the world, but it's the people in the chat, all the people who subscribed to me, and all the people who supported me in 2023 with Stand with Glenn. You guys get me through a lot of things. You guys are fantastic. Rexer, Steven, everyone in the chat. You guys to me are my irreplaceable thing. There's been times where I've been struggling with so many different things, but you guys have always been there for me, and I appreciate you guys. So, thank you. A little corny.
This is
That's-
I wasn't gonna say it as a sad thing, but that's good.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. There's some things from my childhood, little things that if I lost, would like, I'll give you a little in-depth. People don't know this about me, but this is, I keep this near me. This is a baseball, from a high school all-star game that I got to play with Derek Jeter, so it reminds me of the days I used to play baseball, against Derek Jeter when I was a kid growing up, So things like that. I have a tape of us playing. If that got destroyed, I'd be a little upset, Well, actually, I have it converted to MP4 now. So, but if I lost that MP4, that video, I'd be a little,
Put it on
heartbroken.
YouTube, but hide it. So at
I
least it's up
should
there.
I should upload it on YouTube. Maybe
Make
I'll
it
make it public.
unlisted.
Yeah, I
Or
could even make
public,
it
yeah.
public. People might want to see it. Him playing as a kid.
Yeah,
So
that's really cool.
yeah. So some things like that, Glenn. Those things that you can't replace those
Right.
things. But
Actually, I'll save it for another time. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it tonight. But AJ,
we won't make fun of you. We swear.
No, it's
no,
not
we
that.
won't.
It's not. It's like
You get
50.
sappy, Glenn.
No, it's about Derek Jeter and why I can't stand the guy. But I'm not. I don't want to bring that.
Yeah,
up
you're a
today.
New Yorker. Come on, you're supposed to.
I am.
Didn't you have an uncle or something that played baseball professionally or
well,
something?
there's a bunch of
Was
things,
that you
but
that had a person like an uncle or something that played professional baseball?
it's someone in the family, but
Well, that's what I mean. I
Yeah.
thought there was somebody in your
There
family that
is.
played pro
well,
ball.
my son actually on my wife's side is actually related to Babe Ruth. So there's that. But
Oh, wow.
as far as Derek Jeter, I'll say that for another time. But I do want to say something as well because I know we're coming up to the top of the hour, and I do appreciate everyone out there. I do, and you guys may know this thing. You guys may have seen this once or twice. I don't know. This may be something you guys have seen. Put it down here. You guys seen this little thing before? Move it over here a little bit.
Ah, yes.
You guys know what that is, right?
Very proud of that.
Right.
Yes,
I'm
we
very
do.
proud of that too. Great partnership with SNK, and I would say Sunday. It was supposed to start Saturday, but they always start late. We're going to do a special on this because you guys have really been good. You guys have been really supporting T-Sticks. You really guys have been supporting me as well. This normally goes for $79. I would go to the site on Sunday. You'll be able to get this little bad boy for. Oh, I'm moving this over the way. It's in the wrong spot. I can't even see it. $55. We're going to take 30%
What?
off. We're going to get 55% off. So if you guys wanted to get a Ikari Warrior stick or a second Ikari Warrior stick,
Yeah.
for right now, we're going to do a special, just a thank you to everyone out there who's been supportive of us. We're going to take 30% off. No code needed. Just go to the site.
Wow.
$55.99 right there. So
that's what, $24 off, basically.
something like that. Don't ask me to do
That's
math.
incredible.
Let's say 30%.
I don't know how you do some of this stuff, Glenn, because like even with the like Build-A-Cade, I'm like, how is this only like, I think when I bought it, it was it $89, something like that.
It was $89 when it first came out, right?
Yeah, and you open it up and you see everything in it, and I'm like, this is how do you even make this for $89? You know, like let alone make a profit on it. You know, from the screen, the boards, the all the wires you put in
well,
there.
I will
and,
say it's a lot of arguing with my team because I try to get the prices down because I want you guys to enjoy these things. I want you guys to, to have your kids play them or you relive your childhood. So this is just really just a thank you to all of you guys for all the support you've done for us. We just had our announcement today with American Gear Company that we're now going to be supplying, the controllers for them. We've had a great relationship with them. I know you guys are waiting for the New Wave Toys announcement. There is I don't want to say a licensing thing, but there's something going on with some things that still have to be signed on the back, not from me, but I guess with the license. So it's being held up. I talked to Shia a little bit before the show, so that's still coming. I do also want to say that if you did order the Sinden Target Pro or the Boomstick, I believe that should be available. It's going out next couple of days, 2 or 3 days, I believe. It's in the warehouses now, so that should be going out. If anyone wanted this for the Build-A-Case, which is the little 6-button controller here, this little guy right here, that guy right there, that also should be going out if you ordered that. So I'm kind of proud of this one too, because it's got little new buttons on here. It's not like a micro switch. It's more of like a New Wave toy style button. So we have that going on. Also the Viper. The Viper should be going on for sale, I'm hoping, in the next week or so. So we have a lot of stuff that's been going on. It's been kind of crazy behind the scenes.
So I got a question, Glenn, off the cuff here.
Sure.
Can I get different color buttons for my Build-A-Case to match for Donkey Kong?
You know what? I thought about that after we did this. I'll figure something out. No, not yet. But I realized, like, when we did this, we should have offered, because I think we include like 2 spares in the bag. We should have like a red, a white, and a black. We should have did that. So I'm going to see if I could do that. Now, REXER brings up a good point. I know people have been asking about that as well. The 3D print files to turn your Build-A-Case into the Donkey Kong will be available shortly. I'm waiting on one last piece that you guys are probably going to want to have to make it look like Donkey Kong. So once that turns out, I'll have that released. And Rex, it's a good idea about having the different topics. I know Billy Mitchell won't play anything. Won't play anything.
He needs a black top joystick, Glenn, not red. Can't
that
be
wasn't
red
you played? Nope, didn't play in the red. But we got a picture you playing the nope, wasn't red.
Black. Well, what about the art package for Donkey Kong? Come on, can you give any information on that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I've been talking to Joe Sabos. And the reason I've been talking to Joe Sabos, I'm going to release the art package. Anybody will be able to print it if they want to. There's no question. I'm going to still do that. But by the design of the REXER has one of the 3D print files. When you put it in, it may not perfectly match the side panels. So Joe Sabos makes acrylic reverse printed artwork. So that is basically like a piece of plexiglass. So I just think on the sides and the rest of it's going to look even better. I'm just waiting for Joe to finish his design. And then that's when the files will be released and you guys can order it that way. But also I know Escape Pod and the other people will be able to make vinyl for sure. Yeah. And the vinyl may be fine. I just think personally, I think the acrylic might be the best for the sides.
Yeah.
Some
Well,
people-
you'll see mine. There may be a video made once I get the vinyl on it.
well, I want you
Because
to.
it's going to be a dedicated Donkey Kong Build-A-Cade. So
Awesome. And I know you've been wanting to do that for a long time. So you were one of
mhm.
the reasons I wanted to kind of do this. And if you reach out to Mr. Weeby, being he's who he is, tell him
Yeah.
if he would like one, I would be more than happy to make him one and send him send him one. Just if you reach out.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to do that.
All right.
Now, we are coming to the end of the show. Rex, is there anything you want to talk about? Your show, times? What do you want to talk about? We got a few minutes to say what you want.
Guess
Yeah,
that
well,
they'll
no,
have
I'll
on
just-
in the future or whatever.
Yeah, I just I just want people to go check out the show and the streams we do. I think they're enjoyable. I don't know, most of the people know me in the chat, most of them, but if you don't, I can guarantee you, if you go watch some of our streams, even the one from yesterday, it's an enjoyable stream with fun topics. We get through some fun stuff. We always show some fun stuff, and you'll enjoy it. That's all. I really didn't have any specific topics to talk about. I wanted to go over the Build-A-Cade and the Donkey Kong thing, because I've been me, I've been harassing you about it for a long time now, and we're right there.
But it's not
I
even
actually, like I
harassment.
said, I took it apart because I thought that when I get the thing, plus because Glenn, if you put the bezel on and the marquee, you gotta take the marquee off.
Yes.
If you've already put the artwork on and tear off the old. I'm just saying that's the way I do it. And when I do the bezel, I want it all apart so I can get it on right, So anyway,
so I'm dying to
conversations
see
we can
when you get yours built, because again, I know how much of a fan you are. I mean, a lot of people are Donkey Kong fans. Not everyone can play it like you do. I know you're a huge fan of it, so I want you to get your honest opinion of it. And I want people to, again, the whole point of the Build-A-Cade is to make it your cade. I want you guys to make things you want, and I'm going to try and make more enhancements for it. We just did the I call it the upriser. R-Cade want to borrow some stuff from me, so I borrowed some stuff from them. Hey, what are you going to do? So to make it 3 inches higher for some people to view better. So we're trying to.
The other thing I want to tell.
No, let's hear
you
it.
just reminded me. I am working on a project. I'm going to hopefully do some videos on it, but let me show you this. This is part of the product. Do you know what this is, Glenn? Do you know what this is?
It looks like a Mister to me.
Mr. Cade. This is the Mr. Cade.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that product. Scarlet Sprites had one, or whatever.
Yes, exactly. But I am I've always wanted a class of 81 and not an arcade 1-up class of 81, because they just do it all wrong. So I'm building one. I'm building a class of 81 from scratch, and I'm learning a lot about the class of 81 versus other Midway style cabs. Different, a lot of difference in them. And I was actually going to put this in it to start, but there's only one problem, is they don't have the right core for the Mister doesn't have the right core for the class of 81 ROM, but they do have all the games obviously on them. But as I go through that project, it's going to be like a modern day arcade, and I'm going to use an LCD. I'm probably going to use the Unico 25-inch, because the class of 81 had a 25-inch monitor in it. That's what people don't understand. Not the standard 19 for a Pac-Man. It had a 25-inch. The only way I can get that is with the Unico. It's the perfect Unico 25.
Or you get yourself an old one, and you can hook it up to the Mister.
But this is what I was going to say. I was on TNT last night, amusements. You know how they sell stuff?
Yeah.
They had this is the problem with, they had a class of 81, a real one, with a 60-in-1 in it, and it was listed for $2,700. And they're like, we're going to give you a special $2,400. And I'm like, it doesn't even have the real board in it. You got a 60-in-1 in there.
Yeah, 60-in-1 boards are $35.
I know, and they're asking $2,400 for it. They're just hard to find. Retro Ralph had one. He sold it for a
They grow on trees, those 60-in-1 boards.
And here's the thing. Retro Ralph also has an extra class of 81 PCB, and he can't find it. I'm like, what do you mean you can't find it? He's like, I don't know where I put it. I'm like, I want it. Sell it to me, Sell it to me, because I'll run the real hardware on the LCD, the Unico LCD. And he's like, well, he's been searching for weeks. He's got so much crap. He just loses PCBs, so I got to give him a hard time.
I'm still on the fence with that Unico monitor. I've had people,
me too.
Weird issues with it, stuff like that. That's the only reason I'm not pulling the trigger. I have 4 cabinets with 25-inch Wells Gardners in them. What is it, Cave 7000s in them or whatever?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's a couple machines, their monitors are dying, and I'm like, but I go on YouTube and it's like, this thing is buggy and firmware needs it, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm stopping.
It
You
doesn't
know?
work with certain resolutions. You can't
Yeah,
adjust the
yeah.
position of the
Till
picture
they
and
fix
all
that,
this.
I'm not
Yes.
pulling the
Well, that's what
trigger.
I said. I actually wrote Jay. I'm like, Jay, when are you fixing this? Well, we got a patch coming out with a new controller board that's going to fix all those issues. And I said, well, what about the resolution problems and all this? And he's like, oh, that's going to be fine. The good thing is Midway standard resolution, so I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
some of those other type of resolution issues that other people had to worry about. But I couldn't believe it. People were playing with the Unico thing and it's cutting off some of the picture, and they're like, yeah, it's not
That's
that bad.
fine.
I'm like, what? Yeah,
No.
you heard that too, Steven?
Oh yeah,
Like,
I
yeah,
saw
cut
that.
it off
This
a little
one
bit.
guy,
I'm like,
this one guy, he was like, well, you know, him short of hitting the side of it and trying to get it to do stuff, I was like, that would be unacceptable to me.
unacceptable. Yeah.
Like you know, when you pay, what is it, almost $300 for that thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's got to work properly. I have a 25-year-old monitor that works better.
Right.
Get with the
Yeah.
program, you know, like, I mean,
Right, exactly. All the CRTs I have are luckily are still working great. Now these two actually, the other reason, Glenn, was because these two have LCDs in them
Right.
from Mike's Arcade, and I actually wanted to compare which one was better, the Unico or these or the ones I have in my Donkey Kongs. Those are running on real hardware, but they do have an LCD on them.
Hacko makes a good one, but they only go up to 19-inch.
Yes, that's
not
the problem.
Hacko,
Yeah.
sorry, whatever.
Wells Gardner, I think it makes. Is it a
Now,
Wells?
Rex, how do you feel
I
about
forget,
using the
yeah.
LCD? Does it bother you that they have the LCD? It's real hard with the LCD. Does that bother you, or it doesn't bother you
No,
much?
it doesn't bother me anymore. I know people think I'm a
it did.
purist. It did in the beginning because you know what, the picture isn't as good, especially on these Nintendos, because it needs an inverter board because the colors are backwards, and I think that distorts the image a little bit. But if anybody who knows arcades and CRTs, you walk up to them, you can tell right away, oh, it's not as good as a CRT. It's just not. It's just not.
There's what I did discover. This is an interesting little topic. I mean, if we go over, we go over. But tonight I'm good to go over. I've seen Robotron with an LCD. It looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you go on another game and you're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
it's a hit
Weird.
and miss thing. It
Well,
really
I
is
think
because
actually some of the games use the interlacing of a CRT for the effects, for the color. Like Robotron has more like contrast. It's like yellow
Yeah.
and red and black. But
Yeah.
other games may use the colors and the low resolution to change how it looks. So I can see why an LCD can make something look really bad on some
Right.
games, but okay in others.
Well,
like
it's weird.
Pac-Man looks great.
Yeah, it's weird because Donkey Kong looks really good, not as crisp as 1080p on a generic LCD running MAME, but it looks pretty good. I'm like almost very happy with it, right? Donkey Kong Jr. looks really good, but I got a switcher to the DK3 board, and when I switched to the DK3 board, the picture is like not good at all. I was like, ugh.
Oh, wow.
But Junior on the same platform looks really good on the LCD, but it's just weird. So yeah, and you can't fiddle with the settings, too much, because then the other one gets affected, so.
Well, that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize when getting into arcades. I'll give you an example. I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-player machine, and it's all set up. The sound's good, the video's great, whatever. If I take that board out and I put my Simpsons board in there, the volume's cranked, the brightness is too high. It's made by the same damn company, but it's all out of whack. So you gotta literally readjust everything when you swap the boards out, and you're like, oh, this is tiring and exhausting.
Yep.
So that's the thing with this old stuff is it could be the exact same cabinet. Like Simpsons and Turtles are identical cabinets.
Yeah.
Identical. Everything inside is the same monitor, same controls. Power supply is probably the same or a little different, but as soon as you swap the boards out, you're like, what the hell just happened? The volume's cranked and the brightness is all out of whack and the colors, and you have to readjust everything. Well, then you put your old board back in and it's all out of whack again.
Yeah.
Well, Rex, I know Steven has one. Do you have any of the New Wave toys with their effects LCD bezel thing on it? It makes it look like a CRT. Do you have any of the New Wave toys?
Yeah, well, remember I got the Missile Command one, and we were talking about that. We were the ones who kind of went, wait a second, there's a couple of small issues here. There's bending and there's some cutoff.
Do you think when you're looking like your LCD in there, do you think something done a little bit better is what's needed on like the Duncan? You missed that effect of the CRT look. Do you think that would help?
I don't miss it, and I don't think it would be possible on that scale, on a 19-inch scale, what they do, because the Ghost and Goblin ones looks great.
It does,
right? It looks really good. The one, but I don't know if you could do it on a big screen. I don't miss it. You know, I know I'm looking at an LCD, and that's what I expect. You know, I can tell it's a flat screen, it's an LCD. I don't. I think it's an awesome thing on the new wave toys, but I wouldn't want it on the big ones unless it was done perfectly, because again, I don't want any other lenses in front of, you know, I already got to look through a plastic bezel, right? You know, I don't want to have to look through another plastic bezel, you know, and distort any more of the image. So I just don't even think somebody should try it, in my opinion. But
I think having arcades is you got to love the damn things, because you'll wake up one morning, oh look, it doesn't work anymore.
yeah.
Well, you can see
and
my
you didn't do
Zaxxon.
anything.
My Zaxxon back there, that's an original CRT, but it's got burn-in. It's got really bad burn-in. You can't tell from here, but it's got burn-in. But I don't want to put an LCD in it. I want to keep it as it is.
Yeah, you know what you can do is you can actually, I have a friend of mine that actually swaps out the tube. What he does is he goes to the dump or these recycling places, and he finds old televisions that have the same tubes as these arcade monitors. And what he does is he goes on this website, has all the values and everything, and he does a tube swap, and it works really good. And then it's almost like you have a new monitor. It's great.
At work, they had in the warehouse, they had about 25 probably 19-inch tube, all stripped down, it already out of the shell, you know, perfect, CRTs, right? And they were throwing them out, and I said, don't throw those out. I said, whatever you do, don't throw them out. Number one, you got to dispose of them correctly, but number two, I'm like, don't throw them out, I want them. I went back like a couple weeks later, and they're like, oh, sorry, we threw them out. I'm like, oh, why would you do that? They didn't know what they had. Like, they didn't know
the value. They didn't know the value to anybody, right? Yeah.
And then they threw, I go, well, I told you not to throw them in the dumpster. Yeah, well, we just had a big dumpster. We just tossed them all in there. I'm like, well, that ain't right, number one. But, you know, number two, I wanted them. You know, we could do something with them.
Yeah, you can. Like my Miss Pac-Man, I replaced the monitor in it. Best thing I ever did. The monitor was getting tired. It had severe burn-in. You can actually see the maze of Miss Pac-Man burnt into the monitor. And I was like, wow, that's got to go. And a buddy of mine that does all this stuff, he redid a 19-inch Wells Gardner, and it looks fantastic. He got it out of an old TV. The thing looks amazing, you know. But you know what? I learned something when this guy came over to do that. Apparently, depending where you live, the electromagnetic fields of the Earth will play around on setting up the convergence and all that stuff in the monitor.
Wow.
The guy lives about 4 hours away. He said he set it up. He sent me a video. It looked great. He gets it here 4 hours north. Things out of whack. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot about this Earth stuff. I was like, what are you talking about?
He was lying through his teeth. What are you talking about?
Oh, no. Like, apparently it's a real thing. That
you had to Google and look it up?
Oh, yeah. I went, not that I was thinking he's lying, but I was like, really? And apparently, depending on where you live and that sort of thing, that it can throw things off. I'm like, geez, you can't win with these arcades.
Did you mess with the convergence rings and stuff like that, or
he did? When he was here, he was at the. He knows what he's doing. I looked at that and went, wow, I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
And he was playing around and he got it like pretty good. There's a little bit of a bend, but nothing crazy, you know. And I was like, wow, that's nuts.
Wow.
So yeah. So it's
always something.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, just put it in. Good enough. Let's go. My Miss Pac-Man never looked better. So done.
Yeah.
On that note, I know REXER's, your family's there, and I appreciate you coming on the show. Just real quick again, the sale for the Ikari stick I say it's supposed to start tomorrow, but go Sunday. It's the price should be reflected there. There's no code needed. That's just a thank you to all of you guys. The iiRcade Viper board. My team actually emailed me yesterday saying a lot of the fixes look like they're done. So I should be getting another prototype. And if I give thumbs up, we'll begin producing that. But I want to thank all you guys once again for joining us here on Friday. And REXER, thank you for,
Hey,
REXER
thank
actually
you,
got to
Glenn.
work early.
Next time we're talking about old TV game shows. Remember, I said
Yes.
we got to. Next time I come on, old TV game shows. Which ones are our favorites?
We could do that. Absolutely
All
can.
right.
Come on down.
Yeah,
That's still going, actually.
Whammies. Whammies. Don't get the whammy. No whammies. No whammies. No whammies. Wah, wah. But in any case, I want to thank everyone in the chat. Rexer, you had a lot of fans in the chat today as well. I don't know if you saw them.
good.
A lot of people
No,
were
I
here.
wasn't reading chat, unfortunately.
That's okay. I know I have the cheap channel. But hey, our audio was working the whole time. No one
Yes.
got dropped. No one froze. It's
Almost
a miracle
perfect show.
It's a miracle show.
Yeah.
So that's
Good
it. Listen,
news.
I want you guys to enjoy the weekend. I appreciate, love every one of you guys. Thank you so much. Rexer, again, thanks for coming on the show. Steven,
For
as
sure.
always, go home. Or you're there already. So, okay.
I am home. Nowhere to go.
All right. Listen, everyone, have a great weekend. We appreciate you and spend some time with the family. But in between those times of playing with the family, you're going to do what?
Game on.
Game on. Game on. Sit, Blue Blue.